Welcome everybody to a SaltyChillersEntertainment podcast. This is Hero Darkness.
Which numbers?
Valentine.
And Red Renegade.
And today we are discussing things that can be quite the topic among players in gaming, and that is, should DLCs be free or should we pay for them? What are your guys' thoughts when you hear DLCs? Should we have to pay for them, or should the studio just give it to us?
Personally, I'd love to get every DLC possible for free. But I understand how work goes into some of them. So, obviously they wouldn't be paid for the job that they've done.
And that is also true. But it also comes down to, let's take a game, but all the paid content in the game before the DLCs is cosmetics. Thus they can use that to create the DLCs as a different revenue.
So would you be for then the dreaded microtransaction in the game to use that to pay for your content?
I wouldn't mind that as much as long as the microtransactions are for cosmetics.
Yeah, as long as they... Like, you could
Remain
buy this super OP sword.
No.
One-shots everything. Everyone buys it. No, I wouldn't be down for anything like that.
Bao, what are your thoughts?
I think it makes me wonder why companies like Capcom give like Monster Hunter World, the DLCs are free, but
Well, Monster
with
Hunter's always done
Destiny, huh?
that. Monster Hunter's always done that throughout all their games. All their DLCs are free.
Well, that's like awesome, and I'm glad that they can like afford to do that, you know? But it makes me wonder why like Destiny couldn't be free. And like if a studio is like, you have to pay for this, like I'm still gonna pay it if I really enjoy the game. But I just appreciate the companies that offer it for free.
Well, here's how I think about it. Monster Hunters, whenever they release DLC, before it would just be like 3, maybe 2 missions added to the game. So that would only like hold you off for like 50 minutes tops.
Right.
Maybe more.
So
there
there
is-
is working armor sets.
Yeah,
From the
but it would just be like little things that would change about Monster. Like it wouldn't really add anything. Like Monster Hunter's World is the first one where it was actually adding monsters. Beforehand, it would just be monsters that already existed, and they'd just like be bigger or smaller, or stuff like that. So there's no real reason why you had to put, like, people had to buy it. I mean, yeah, the missions would also get you special armor, but it wasn't really that necessary. It gave you everything that you already needed. Destiny, on the other hand, gives you a lot more content, which I believe is...
a lot of side quests.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's been a conservative thing so far.
Well, Destiny is an interesting game to talk about in of itself as far as the game, yet on the same note, Destiny does something very different. They not only have the free content, but they also have the microtransaction with their Eververse. So not only are you having to pay for that DLC, but if you want something else versus relying on the Eververse engram or their box that they give you to get your item, you're gonna have to rely and hope that the random rolls are in your favor. If not, well then, good luck getting it.
Yeah.
And that, where some of the people don't like, it's like, okay, you have microtransactions in the game, and I still have to pull out 20-30 bucks for a single DLC, or if it's a big expansion you want me to pull out $40 for it. And people feel like those, with having to pay for it, separates the community. Is that, in your guys' eyes, is that a good thing to have a separation of communities?
No.
I'd rather have the gaming community united than separated. My thoughts with this is, they have microtransactions. Why can't some of that microtransactions lower the cost of the DLCs? But almost they're not making money from microtransactions. And that's what it comes down to. The companies that make money from microtransactions to help pay for DLCs, it makes it difficult.
Well, I'm gonna let you guys know right now, I don't bother with microtransaction because I'm like, nope. I'm gonna grind it out. What is Val's and Renegade's thoughts
About microtransaction?
about DLCs separating the community?
Oh.
Should that be a
Like
thing?
No, that shouldn't be a thing. Like what Rich says, it's
No,
better to have
yeah.
a community united and not split them up because of this issue. I know. I like how you said like you don't do it, but then as you were saying it, I was thinking back to my time in Fortnite, where basically there's this emote called Star Power, and it's my favorite emote of all time. And that was the one time where I became weak, and I was just like, I want it so bad.
But now, it's interesting though how not consoles MMOs, but like PC MMORPGs, they release expansions, and you can pick and choose which expansions you want to get,
Really?
and how you can get them individual. I know it's on the Elder Scrolls Online. It's pick and choose which ones you want. You don't have to get all of them. You can buy one and slowly find out how to look the other one. But that doesn't always mean it's so a good thing. But also MMORPGs, that's part of the community. You have to pay for the DLCs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to see how different it is playing a Destiny 2 DLC and comparing it to, something like what Monster Hunter World does. Because this will be my first paid DLC I've ever done.
So you didn't, because I know you mentioned how you played WoW once or twice.
Yeah. Oh yeah, when it first came out and we had like boxy computers and stuff.
Did you ever pay for any of those DLCs?
I don't think so. I bought the game and I played it for like a week. I gave it like a minuscule amount of time, I think.
Ah.
So no. I think I still have like the disc somewhere in my storage. Like covered in dust with my old computer.
Because that would have been something interesting though. You did play the WoW DLC and they compare that to the Forsaken DLC. Yes, a huge time difference has happened between the two. But it would have been interesting to see the difference.
Another question. Whenever a DLC, or to clear things up with some of the terms that we're just throwing out, a DLC stands for downloadable content. when Rachel was saying MMORPG, that stands for Massive Multiplayer Online Role-Playing Game. So whenever the studio releases their new downloadable content or DLC, what should be a baseline of how much should be given? Well, let's just use a story-driven game. If they release a new content, how big should this content be that they're releasing for us?
And this is separate from the basic of the game, right?
Yes.
We're talking about the downloadable content.
Yes.
It shouldn't be the same. It should be shorter than, obviously, the base game. But not to the extent where you only get, like, 30 minutes out of it.
Yes.
Like, let's say base game lasts for, let's say, 40 hours? Like, probably, like, DLC would last them, it should be, like, maybe 10. Should be, like, a fourth of the time. At least that's how I look at it.
So if the base game takes 40 hours, then you're saying the DLC needs to be anywhere between 10 to maybe 20 hours tops?
Yeah. I mean, that may seem kind of short, but
that's the story, and that's not
Yeah.
including all the other content the game should offer outside of story. You're saying the DLC you pay 15-20 bucks for, you get 5 seconds of story.
Exactly.
All right, and then, Val, what are your thoughts?
I think the more you pay for something, the more it should give you, I guess. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, so I mean, for bigger price tags, I think that it should be almost like a totally different game. Not like different in the way of like, I just think it should be it should be my money's worth if I'm gonna shell out, close to $100 total for like everything,
Talk
So
about shelling out close to $100. Coming up on 3 years, this November is when Star Wars Battlefront from EA and DICE came out, the 2015. For the base game, just the regular edition of the game was around $50. Okay, not too bad, typical price.
yeah.
$50-$60. The deluxe edition was additional $10 or so. And all right, no big deal. Then let's throw in the season pass. Okay, season pass on average is normally about an extra $20-$30. EA and DICE were like, no, we're season pass is going to be another $50.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah, it's another $50, and you're going to get 4 DLCs with it. And everyone in the community was up in arms, and they're like, no, this is unacceptable. To me, in that instance, they went too far. They crossed the line. That hurt the community more than help.
Yeah.
Because you basically just separated the community, and then what happens now, you have that, okay, then it's just, as the typical DICE game, you have your typical playlist for each and every new expansion. So the first expansion was Outer Rim, so you had an Outer Rim playlist, and they introduced a new game mode, and that game mode could only been played in the new expansion and nowhere else. They introduced a heroes versus villains where it was 4v4, and that was only found in that game, in that expansion, nowhere else. And then the next one
Instead
they
of
released,
just hoping you get it.
yeah, it was stuck in that DLC. Then the next expansion was Bespin, then the following one was Death Star, and then the last one was to tie into, not so much to tie into Rogue One, but it was the Rogue One DLC where they pulled from the Rogue One movie and had their story and pulled from there. But if you wanted to buy each DLC individually, I think it was between $14-15 for each individual expansion for just a new playlist and maybe one or two new well, no, it was up to 4 maps depending on the DLC. And that just kind of separated and turned a lot of people away. They're like, nope, not for me. You guys done messed up. I can't blame them.
But
And yeah,
the sad thing is that there are people that do pay that, you know? They like, price isn't really a thing to them, so they'll just pay it anyways. You know? It's kind of like nerd tax, how like everything that we want that has any relation to video games or anything is like twice as much as if you were to just, you know, buy a standard stuffed animal or t-shirt or, you know, people, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, so of course they thought they could slap a price tag on there, and you know, people still paid it.
yeah, people still play it, and that right there separated the community, because now you have half the community or even a fourth of the community playing one DLC, and it quickly died off on some platforms. On the computer especially, the game went downhill faster than it did on console. And then Dyson EA is like, alright guys, Battlefront 2, here it is. And guess what? All new content's free.
The fans were happy about that. The fans were happy about that.
Fans are happy about that, and then microtransactions plagued everything else.
But they've been slowly working on it since then.
They've pretty much have now removed almost completely, if not entirely now, every single microtransaction thing in the game.
I know. The one thing I look at with microtransactions, it's all depends on how you perceive it. Now it's done. Because if you used to progress in the game and get better loot, players aren't gonna like it. I know I don't like it. But using cosmetics is good, and that's what Battlefront 2 fell into, that random grayish area. The loot boxes / microtransactions. Actually, dudes get the loot boxes, or would have got to get the loot boxes, would have made you get the stuff you could grind in the game to get and cosmetics. So it wasn't, I'm spending the money to get a better weapons, I'm spending money so I can get the better, upgrade my cards faster than what I typically would. Or I can end up getting skins or emotes. So it was that kind of gray area. It wasn't where they were spending money to get better stuff. It was stuff you could end up getting for grind. But at the same time, it was you spending money on cosmetics. But people perceive it more as a pay-to-win factor into the game, which brings up a completely different aspect.
To go on with the Star Wars Battlefront controversy, the loot boxes gave you stuff to upgrade and make your character or the class you're using stronger. And if I paid real money, I can get that stuff faster versus just playing and grinding the game out. And whenever you did get this stuff, there's no guarantee you're going to get a duplicate card because it was all randomized. And thus created the whole Star Wars Battlefront 2 controversy, because there was no guarantee I'm going to get this star card that I want to get to help me out to play to better fit my playstyle. Instead, it's going to be, oh, here you go, here's another card that you've already had, hope you like it. And so it literally felt like you were going to the slot machine and hoping to get the card that you want, getting that 777.
Come on, 23 red.
Exactly.
Wouldn't get it.
Exactly.
It's on like 7 black.
That's exactly what it was.
But the thing is, like, I don't mind paying for DLCs as long as the content is there. I don't feel like I wasted the money on the content for something that wasn't existing.
Agreed.
As if I got with my money.
Because the whole counter argument of like, okay, you want free DLCs, well, then you're gonna have to pay for it through another way. Do you guys agree with that method of saying the other way is paid, is microtransaction?
I mean, I'm not opposed. Like, I'm not opposed to microtransaction, just as long as it doesn't better players. And somehow they have to get. They're trying to squeeze more money out of it. So I'm actually okay if they do that, as long as it doesn't help people progress faster.
Yeah, I'm down with paying for any type of DLC, as long as, like, yeah, it doesn't give an unfair leg up. That seems pretty it just seems unfair. Like, you know, I could be running around with this, but if I pay $79.99, I get this like 12 cannon atomic bomb launcher. You know, like, I don't know. I just want it to be fair, but I want it to be decent, and I want it to expand as it should on the story.
Everyone seems to have their own thoughts on like, yeah, I don't mind the microtransaction, or yeah, I don't mind paying for a DLC. Now, if you had to choose one option or the other, what would you prefer? The microtransaction existing in games, or just paying for the DLC and saying, yeah, this is what it is? Because, not gonna lie, when the first DLC dropped in the Star Wars Battlefront 2, I kind of felt like I was cheated on, because yeah, I was able to play as Finn and Captain Phasma, and then I only got one new planet to play on and one new space map, and I'm like, really? That was it? That's all I got? That's all I got.
You paid $15.99 for this.
Granted, The Last Jedi didn't have a whole lot of new. Granted, The Last Jedi didn't have a whole lot of new locations to add for the game. It just felt like, really, that's all the movie had to offer, and that's all you guys could come up with was this. I feel like I was let down, not just by the game, but by the movie, for not giving the game more stuff to add to their game. It's like, come on. I was promised free stuff.
That's funny.
I was promised free stuff.
And this is what I get. I feel like I was cheated. And so with that, if you guys are on board with the free DLCs and the microtransactions to wait for you to get paid, do you want the same amount of content, if not the same, if not more, for it, because it is free?
DLCs are one big controversy. It's like, we want them to keep the game alive, to add more content, to want to come back and keep playing. At the same time, we don't want to spend the money. because all in all you paid for the base game, which on average is about $60, and then the DLCs, which is extra $60 sometimes to get all the DLCs. Depends on the DLCs, if not extra $30 for all the DLCs. They're spending $90 on a game which first gets releases worth 60, but by the time you finish all the DLC, it's all then sold worth 60 a year later. It seems like, which makes me think: is it worth buying the game day one, or should I wait the year and buy for 60 with the DLCs and come in late, but still be able to enjoy everything?
Mm-hmm.
And that leads to a whole other discussion about the lifespan of a game and how DLCs can make the game live longer. And if you come in a year later, you are behind, because if you had friends that have been playing the game since day one, they want to be doing the cool end game stuff and be doing the harder difficulty stuff, while you're stuck at the first and they have to take time, and nothing wrong with this, and help your friend or help you out on getting there. What are your thoughts on that, Val and Renegade? Your thoughts on, should you buy a game day one or wait?
Well,
I just don't know how to like answer.
I say if you know it's a game, like if you know about the game and you trust that the DLCs are going to be good, you can go for it. There's also that chance where they're not going to be. So I would actually say wait and see. This is coming from me, who like went ahead and bought Destiny 2 Digital Deluxe. Just like, yeah, let's go for it right now. But I would say wait and see what the content's gonna be. Get reviews about it, good reviews, and then you can make a decision.
I feel like if you're responsible, you will do that. Like if you're responsible, you will wait until reviews come out, because I honestly don't buy a game until I've heard reviews about it. And once I've heard reviews, then I'll go ahead and do it, unless I already have previous like history with the game. Like if they came out with an Atlas Madness Returns MMO game that was for the PS4 that, you know, was in succession with my favorite game of all time, I would pick it up in a heartbeat, and I would like play all the DLCs and like be super committed. But that's because I have history with the game, so I know what I'm getting into. You know, if you don't like puzzles, don't play that game. So like, you know, it's basically like heavily reliant on word of mouth and testimonials and YouTube.
I always go by, if I know I'm going to play the game regardless of what the critics have to say, I'm going to pay for it. And now as far as where I stand and my thoughts on that, me personally, I don't have a preference on free DLC or paid DLC. Yeah, money may be tight, but be responsible with yourself. And yeah, free DLCs, yeah, may sound nice on the surface, but what else is going to be in the game that is going to affect everything? Is it really going to be cosmetics, or is it going to be stuff that affects other things that hurts the game? Just because it's free, I just go back to basic economics, where one of the first things they taught and drilled into me was there is no such thing as a free no such thing as a free lunch, because it's costing someone somewhere something for that. So just because it's free for you doesn't mean it's free for the company. And just because there's microtransaction in the game doesn't mean that microtransactions are going to be fail-safe or fail-proof. Like, there's no guarantee that you or the company, in this sense, will be generating the income to use their resources and pay their employees, because this is someone's job that we're dealing with at the end of the day. Someone decided that they wanted to make a career out of this and work at and get hired on at this studio to generate video games, and then we in turn pay for them. That's just covering the base part of things, and then they're adding new stuff. They still need to get paid for that. And to put things in perspective, not every single game that is being developed will break even. So they're relying on us as the consumers to buy their game, and then they want to keep this game going. Then they need something there for us to keep going back and to give them the money that they're spending on this game. What are your thoughts about that?
I mean, I agree. People should, like, people put their time, their money, and really their soul into everything that they create in video games. And sometimes video games don't break even. That's why that they sometimes have like the microtransactions like you were talking about to order to build up more revenue. And maybe, just maybe, that they can make a DLC afterwards if they get enough.
That is true. But it also comes down to the game. Does said game need DLC? Because not all games do need DLCs. Some games are fine with just the base game. They don't really need any DLCs.
Mm-hmm.
A good example of those are the Quantic Dream games. They don't have DLCs attached to it because the game in of itself tells a complete story, and where you can create various endings. It's not, to me, not fair to create, this is the actual canonical ending of the game, and here is the story that should have happened.
I know a game, Little Nightmares. I'm not sure if y'all heard of it, but its story, you could basically play it by itself, but also has, I think, 2 DLCs that expand on what else is happening in the timeline, like from other characters' points of view.
Life is Strange is set up like that. Life is Strange 1 is the character Max, who goes through, you know, this whole storyline, and it's a lot like Detroit Becomes Human. It's based on choices, and then the Life is Strange, The Storm, that one, it's the different character's point of view. The other character in Life is Strange 1. So it kind of expands on the character that's already in the game.
So it tells a backstory.
Yeah. Before the storm. I think that's what it's called. You learn about Chloe, her best friend.
Which, if I remember correctly, spoiler alert, in Life is Strange is who she goes in and saves every single time, which causes the big problem.
Right. She's always saving Chloe.
Or just rather that someone shows up and you either choose to save Chloe again or sacrifice the town.
Right. Right. It's a beautiful game. It made me cry. If they ever came out with like DLCs on top of that stuff too, like I would do it in a heartbeat. They're supposed to be coming out with a Life is Strange about a little boy that may or may not have powers, and it's a completely different storyline, but we're gonna buy it. Like I enjoyed Life is Strange so much that I bought Before the Storm without a pause. And then, when news about this stuff is coming out, I'm going to pre-buy it because I'm just such a fan of the series.
Yeah, and each person is different. Some are gonna wait, some are just gonna jump on the first chance they get to buy. And I'm one where I know I'm gonna play the game, so I'm gonna get it, no questions asked. I may be disappointed in some aspects, but I'm like, I paid for this. I'm gonna make sure that my time is gonna be equal to the money that I put in. So whether that's me putting in and playing it for 12 plus or 20 plus hours or 30 plus hours, so be it. Now I can walk away and say, alright, I've done it. I've put in my money's worth. Now I can go back to or pick a different game. And at the end of the day, it's your decision on whether or not you feel like DLCs need to be free or need to be paid for. And you can say what you want. At the end of the day, it's someone who's trying to make a living out of this. And so don't feel like you have the right as the consumer to demand all these things. They're not our servants. They're not our slaves. We're the ones buying their products. We can give suggestions and offer things to help improve what they're doing. But they're the ones that decided to choose this life to make something and be a content creator. So be kind when you're out on the social media. Be kind to those people, especially on Twitter, where they're posting, hey, here's this. Be like, yeah. And if you don't like it, you don't have to say this is stupid or this is crap or whatever. Just move on.
Just keep scrolling.
I may be the one who may still be undecisive. I will always be one where I would rather have the people who are developing the game find a way to get paid, whether it's one thing or the other. Just because the company has money, they still need to get an income to come in so they can keep doing what they're doing. If not, we're not going to have games to play. Why? Because we're the ones that decided that they shouldn't get paid for a single dime. Okay, that's fine, but now you don't have a game to play. Those are my thoughts. That's my personal thoughts. What about everybody else in here?
I think that, I want everyone to get paid and I want everyone to get their dues. And I think I would be sorely disappointed if, there was a game that was giving away free DLCs and their artists and people weren't getting paid. But that being said, I'm the type of person that if I like it, I will invest money in it. If it provides a unique experience to where, I escape from whatever's stressing me out at the time, or, just wanting to escape life a little bit, as long as it achieves that purpose, then I'll pay. Or if it's free, great. But, and be kind on the internet. I mean, the more we go through time, the more people are rude and condescending and, quick to argue. And we all just need to, like, chill out and enjoy our video games.
Renegade Rich, do you got any other thoughts?
I basically said all I can say.
Well, if Rich doesn't have anything else he'd like to add,
I do not.
well, this has been a Salty Chillers Entertainment podcast. This has been Hero Darkness.
Which numbers?
Valentine.
And Red Renegade.
And as always, guys, stay salty.